politics is a game of numbers, real or perceived. After the handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta in March 2018, the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto read some mischief, and he then embarked on a nationwide tour to consolidate his support base, especially the larger Mount Kenya region, because he knew so well that probably Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta were up to something. So he continued with this tour. And I remember at some point, President Uhuru Kenyatta was pissed off to an extent that he told him this.
Hii kijana anaitwa Ruto, unajua kila weekend ana Tangatanga kila pahali. Atakuwa anapitia hizi machorochoro. Akiona kuna kitu inaenda kona mumwambie. Si namna hiyo? Si namna hiyo? Tuhakikishe kazi ya wananchi imefanyika. Tumekubaliana? Ni wangapi wamesema tuache siasa tuende kazi? Tuende kazi.
And that's how Tangatanga movement was born. So the deputy president continued with his tour in the larger central Kenya region and consolidated his support base. He became the darling of the people of the larger Mount Kenya region. President Uhuru Kenyatta became a foreigner in his own backyard. Then from nowhere, one man, the Nyeri town member of parliament, Wambugu Ngunjiri, then started countering the deputy president. And when Wambugu Ngunjiri started this journey, most people thought that Wambugu Ngunjiri was actually mad, because Wambugu Ngunjiri was elected, but previously he was a non-advisor to Raila Odinga. So most people dismissed Wambugu Ngunjiri, including the highly respected Mutai Ngunyi, who worked for the system but did not know the stories behind Wambugu Ngunjiri. This is how Mutai Ngunyi described Wambugu Ngunjiri at that time. Listen in.
A Greenhorn Kikuyu MP, name withheld, was thinking with his mouth open. The dangerous political novice told us that the Kikuyu nation is not obliged to support William Ruto in 2022. That they all Ruto nothing. That Ruto is just a front runner amongst many runners. Well, we want to inform this Greenhorn MP that William Ruto is not a front runner. He's the only runner. He will become president. And if in doubt, the MP can pray to Jesus, then Jesus will open his eyes. You see, this MP is like the blind man who went to Jesus for healing. Jesus opened his eyes, but he complained that his vision was hazy. To make his vision clear, Jesus had to spit. Then he mixed his spit with mud and applied it on the man's eyes, and his vision became perfect. In our view, Jesus should spit on this Ngunjiri man. He should spit on his eyes and spit on his running mouth. Then he will see the light.
With or without the Kikuyu nation, Ruto will become president. And this is what intellectual simpletons like Ngunjiri do not get. If the Kikuyus betray Ruto, the entire country will regiment against them and make Ruto president in annoyance. Then the Kikuyus will be banished from politics forever. They will find themselves looking for David Ndi to show them how to do secession. If Mzee Moi oppressed them, a rejected Ruto elected by other communities will have no mercy. He will karanga them and make the Nyayo era look like a Sunday school picnic for Kikuyus.
By this particular time, Wambugu Ngunjiri was only one-man army. At some point, then he started winning souls. Minor commander then joined the team. For those who remember, people like Sabina Chege, Wamuchomba, the Kiambu women rep, the Ketua Ruguru guys were vocal supporters of the deputy president William Ruto and even Tangatanga movement. So they started moving Wambugu Ngunjiri, minor commander, and they started recruiting people because it was becoming very clear that President Uhuru Kenyatta was done with his deputy.
Lakini kuna watu wanakuja huku Kiambu, na mheshimiwa speaker, ni vizuri nikuambie, wanakuja huku hawapigii county commissioner simu, hawapigii PS simu, hata wamshapa michi eno original haiwezi itwa. miradi inalonchiwa huku na hatujui. Hiyo ni kuingia bedroom kwa mtu, na hiyo ni uchokozi. Na nataka kuambia hapa hadharani, hata kama sitakangi kuongea siasa kwa mazishi, wakome. Respect His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
And today, as we speak, the Kieleweke movement, which Wambugu Gujiri started in central Kenya, or the larger Mount Kenya region, actually now currently controls most of members of parliament. Let me just tell you how the deputy president has been deserted. In Nyeri County, the deputy president currently has only one member of parliament supporting him. That's the Girathi Gachagua. That's the only member of parliament from Nyeri. The rest are either in Kieleweke or they've just gone mute. You go to Kiambu County, only 2 members of parliament are supporting the deputy president. That is Moses Kuria and Kimani Ichung'wah. The rest are either in Kieleweke or they've gone underground. You go to Kirinyaga. In Kirinyaga, only 1 member of parliament, that is the women rep, Ngirish, is still supporting the deputy president. The rest are either in Kieleweke or they've gone underground. You go to Nyandarua, only 2 members of parliament are currently supporting the deputy president. You go to Laikipia, only 1 member of parliament. You go to Muranga, only 2, Alice Wahome and Ndindi Nyoro. And that's why I'm telling you that politics is a game of numbers. So the system, together with the movement of Wambugu Ngujiri, managed to win the support of most members of parliament from that region, because the deputy president was actually focusing more of his attention on most of the members of parliament. But I strongly believe that of late, Team Kieleweke are losing it. Take for example, over the weekend, just yesterday, the deputy president was in Muranga County. And while in Muranga, most members of parliament were not there. The senators were not there. The deputy president was accompanied, apart from members of parliament from outside the larger Mount Kenya region or central Kenya region, visible members of parliament who accompanied the deputy president were actually Moses Kuria, Alice Wahome. You can name the Tangatanga guys, but very few. Majority of them did not attend the events. But they are losing something from perception, because politics is about perception, either real numbers or perceived numbers. From outside here, most people assume that the deputy president is the one who controls most of members of parliament. That's not the case. The truth of the matter is Kieleweke managed to win the hearts of those members of parliament through the system with the help of Karanja Kibicho. Remember those Hotel Lamada meetings? They've been holding meetings here, reaching out to individual members of parliament, giving them goodies, things like those. So in most areas, in most constituencies, members of parliament are now with President Uhuru Kenyatta. But the perception outside there is that the deputy president has the numbers, because the way his allies from the region have managed to conduct themselves. I want to take you guys to some of the mistakes which I think Kieleweke guys are currently making, because previously they were all over, but at some point they decided to go slow. I don't know what stopped them. Probably they were in fightings, probably funding were not forthcoming, things like those. But let me point out what we can point out. The first mistake these guys are committing, which is actually working in favor of Team Tangatanga, is the misuse of power. Most Kenyans hate people who misuse power. The fact of the matter is that the deputy president is currently powerless. And the fact of the matter is that President Uhuru Kenyatta has entrusted some of his allies with the power. People like Karanja Kibicho. And the other fact is that people like Karanja Kibicho are using some of the members of parliament to fight these wars. And because some of these members of parliament are in power, they actually misuse it. I want to ask you a question. Was there any need for a tear gas to be lobbied inside a church yesterday? Was there any need? The allies of the deputy president mobilized their supporters to go to Muranga, including transporting supporters from Nairobi. These guys went for that church function. Then you throw tear gas at them. At the end of the day, we lose a life. So who wins psychological war down there? The assumption is that these guys are misusing their power. Basically, they are winning sympathy for the deputy president, William Samoei Ruto. In my view, if they were serious, what they would do, they would allow the deputy president to continue with his activities unhindered. Let them organize their rallies, but still go down there. Ask people, explain yourself to people. Tell them why the president is not supporting this guy, despite the fact that this guy supported him. Explain to them that indeed the president is not betraying this guy. It is this guy who has refused to heed to the advice of the president. Just explain instead of misuse of power. That's something which is really working in favor of Tangatanga. And in fact, some are claiming that even the mess which we witnessed yesterday was actually stage managed by Tangatanga so that they can win sympathy. I don't want to believe that's possible. Just like I can't believe, and I will not believe, that someone like Sabina Chege would organize women to go and cause chaos in a rally. Women don't cause chaos in rallies. That's the truth of the matter. The people who normally cause chaos in rallies are actually men. So, because of misuse of power, they are losing it. Number 2 is checkmate. There's one thing which Raila Odinga is very good at, and probably President Uhuru Kenyatta should borrow a leaf. This is what is called checkmate in politics. Ndindi Nyoro analeta shida hapa. Then you go to Kiaru constituency. Look for those who opposed him in the last, those who contested against him in the last election. Empower one of them. Just empower one of them. So if you organize a rambe here, the other guy organizes a rambe there. So on the ground, you will find it very difficult. And because these guys have failed to checkmate some of these guys, they still have time to loiter around. That's why you'll find someone like Moses Kuria, the whole 2 weeks is not in his constituency. After Nairobi, he's in a rally, point A, point B, point C, point D. Because Team Kieleweke have failed to identify checkmates. Currently, most of these members of parliament, both Kieleweke and Tangatanga, they have become very unpopular. That's the reality. So the best way to deal with them is to get someone who resonates so well with the public. Then let the guy deal with them. Most of them will not find time. 2 weeks ago, the deputy president, William Ruto, went to a church service in Eastleigh. Then after that, he went to because it was a market day, he addressed a rally there. Then he left. The next weekend, Raila Odinga tasked some of his key allies. Not very vocal, not known most of the time. So these guys just went there. They went for a church function. After the church, they also just stood their vehicles on the road there. And they just caused traffic snarl up. So basically, by the time they were leaving, people were talking about ODM. You get? So there's always this checkmate. You must get someone to checkmate some of these people. They have not done. Number 3 is the visibility. When these guys started, they used to hold rallies nationally, but mostly in central Kenya. What happened to those rallies? Were they being funded by the state or by the system? And if they were being funded, did the rallies achieve the objective? Of course, I believe the rallies achieved the objectives. But is it right for them to continue just remaining silent? I don't think so. In my view, they must maintain their visibility. Wambugu Ngunjiri is doing it so well on Facebook, he's on radio, he's on TV, explaining. But again, in politics, you must engage with the people directly. You must go to the ground. You go to Kirinyaga, organize a rally there. Things like those. So I think that's another mistake they are doing. The 4th mistake they are committing is the narrative. I want to give you a typical example. The narrative why the Central Kenya are rebelling against Uhuru Kenyatta is that Uhuru Kenyatta has not performed. But whenever the deputy president is down there, what he does, he explains to them the achievement of Jubilee Party. In Muranga, he was explaining to them the roads they've done, what they intend to do, the achievement of Jubilee Party. And that marks the end of the rally. Why can't these guys counter the narrative that Uhuru Kenyatta is not performing? Why can't they go to the ground and convince the people that indeed President Uhuru Kenyatta has done A, B, C, D? Remember, at some point, the president even appointed Peter Munya as the agriculture minister because he believed Mwangi Kiunjuri was sabotaging the agriculture sector which is key and dear to the people of the larger Mount Kenya region, because the president wants these people on his side. Why can't they go down there and explain to the people that, look here, the president is keen on this, this, and this. Let us do this, and this, and we'll achieve it. If it's about roads, why can't they take their time and explain to people that the president is actually embarking on major or massive development for the region, so that the president becomes a darling of the people. The moment the president will become a darling, they won't even need to go and campaign there. And lastly, I think these guys are also depending so much on President Uhuru Kenyatta or his inner circles. In my view, they must move. Once they realize that this is the direction the president wants us to take, then they should actually go. Up to now, the president has not embarked on a tour of central Kenya. I don't understand why. But the truth of the matter is that these guys are over-depending on President Uhuru Kenyatta, so that when the president is not in their regions, then nothing much is happening. Today, the president is in France, the deputy president is in central Kenya. All of them, none of them, had an activity. In my view, when the deputy president had that activity there, which was major, they can't compete the deputy president, then they also ought to have organized another meeting. Let's say in Meru, just a fundraiser, so that by the time the deputy president is addressing people there, then they're also responding through that event somewhere else. I don't know what you think, but in my view, Tangatanga guys are still ahead of Kieleweke in central Kenya and the larger Mount Kenya region. Not because they have numbers, but because they have strategy. Look at the way they mobilized people to attend the Muranga event. We've seen photos of people from Kibra attending that event, donning the deputy president's t-shirt. And someone was pointing out to me that indeed it's those people who are causing chaos. Not really causing chaos per se, but they were the ones who gave the rallies. The ladha, ile ladha ya kwa rally. Watu wanacheza, wana dance, they are excited. Things like those. I don't know what you think. Let me know your thoughts on this matter. Again, if you're watching this video for the first time, take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Thank you guys, and please, may you have a good day. And by the way, for a long time, I've not asked you guys to subscribe. So subscribe. I've not asked you guys to continue helping me by sharing this video to your platforms. Most of you guys are doing that, and I appreciate. But for those who just joined recently, the best way you can support the channel is by subscribing to the channel, sharing the videos, giving the comments, and also giving the video thumbs up. In fact, it doesn't cost anything just to click thumbs up. So just click thumbs up now before you sign off. Bye bye.